Brad Jansen is the president of the Blind Sporting Council. And Brad, well, Happy New Year to all those at the Blind Sporting Council.
Thank you, Peter. It's good to be with you again, and hi to all the listeners as well. How's
this year looking? I guess, this time of the year we sort of look forward and, plan how the year's going to pan out.
We're cautiously optimistic. The reality is that, the GFC is something that's been in the rearview mirror for a while, but unfortunately for charities and, any fundraising organisations, it's still, we're still feeling the effects of it. Unfortunately, people giving money is a discretionary spend, and we still seem to be in the aftermath of that. So it's tough going out there, but we've got a really good board. We've put some extra resources on the board, and we've got some excellent programs that we think will break through the GFC cloud.
Now, one of your programs is the I Support a Star.
That is. That's a recently launched program. And when I say recently, it's about 5 or 6 months. So effectively, it is a program that invites individuals or businesses to sponsor an athlete specifically. Probably something I should really clear up that probably hasn't been very well communicated on our part is that although we do put forward the offer of sponsoring an athlete, it does form part of a general revenue pool, which once again then gets distributed under a fairness policy across all the sports and the various athletes that we exist to support.
So in other words, if I support to athlete X, if you like, the funds don't necessarily go to that particular athlete.
Exactly. Look, I'd love to give you a specific example. Yep. So my business, Qattro, is we sponsor Marilyn Koch, who I'm sure many of your listeners know.
Lawn bowler.
Superstar lawn bowler.
Yep.
And my business chose to sponsor Marilyn because I too am a lawn bowler, so okay. I have a bias, excuse the pun, yes. towards lawn bowls.
Nice.
And so Marilyn's picture proudly is displayed in our boardroom, and a bit about her swag of medals that she's won over time at state and national level. Now, Marilyn's been generous enough to put herself forward to be part of the I Support a Star community. The funds that get raised, the $500 a year that get raised in the name of Marilyn, goes once again to the general pool, where we can then make sure we support all sports and all the athletes that participate in those sports evenly. So that's one of 5 or 6 programs we run. Our policy is that all revenue goes into a general pool, and we share that as equitably as possible across the sports.
And just getting back to the Marilyn example, which, as you say, it's a good one, it's about equity, isn't it? Because if Marilyn, for example, had a year where she didn't need it, or perhaps you thought about the fact that another athlete equally deserves it, then that wouldn't be fair if that athlete couldn't attract a sponsor like your Qattro.
Look, it's a great point, Peter, and the reality is we're collecting money from the greater population. Now, the greater population understands sports like, say, cricket or golf. Now, the bias will be for people to support athletes in those sports because they have a connection with it. But when we look at sports such as goalball, which is, quite confined to the blind and vision impaired sporting sector, if you like, it would be unfair for the goalball participants to miss out just because their sport's not understood by the broader community, who are actually the people we are collecting money from.
And again, using Marilyn as an example, she has got her bit of kudos with the involvement with your company Qattro as well.
Absolutely. Look, we she gets mentioned in our staff meetings. We're very, very proud to sponsor her. Quietly and secretly, I'm very jealous of her swag of medals. But maybe one day I can have a bit of a few wins like hers on the green as well.
Of course, it's a big year for lawn bowls because South Australia's hosting the Nationals this year, aren't they?
Yeah, that's correct. And once again, we'll be a big supporter of that competition as well. So something else, if I could mention just quickly, Peter, is we've done a lot of work in the last year attracting some real good talent on our board. So just to help the listeners understand, all the board members are volunteers and are generally very busy people in terms of career-wise or business owners already. And the spread at the moment, we've got people that are basically from fields of marketing, law, accounting, corporate management, real estate, the finance sector, the information technology sector, government, and a blind sporting representative in Anthony Clark, who's an absolute superstar and a legend in the blind and vision impaired sporting community, as you know. And, building a board of that quality is the foundation for us going out in a tough market and making sure we can pull enough funding ultimately to support all the requests for funding we get. That is ultimately our goal, and we are passionate about it. So we don't always get it right, but I can tell you what, we're trying our hardest.
And the other thing is with a board like that, or with the expertise on a board like that, is people giving can feel very comfortable about the corporate governance side of things as well, can't they?
Absolutely. It's an area that we've focused heavily on. We've got a lot more work to do. But, we've got big plans, and therefore, as you correctly point out, we've got to make sure, especially in today's climate, that we're ticking all those boxes as well.
Now, I guess the I Support a Star is a good one for mainly corporates, I assume, to get involved with, but you've got an opportunity for clubs or sort of smaller groups to get involved as well, to help out as well with some change?
Absolutely. So we're launching a new program. We're just trying to get some traction. It's called iChange. And effectively, the connection we're making is that, let's face it, Australians love sport. We all have had some form of enrichment in our lives from sport, and most of us, or a big portion of the population, hang out at sporting clubs on the weekends. So what we're doing is we're leaving a series of collection tins on bars of sporting clubs across the state, hopefully eventually around the country, where we're asking people that when you buy your beer and you get your 30 cents change from your $3, rather than pocket it, why not pop it into the tin? Because, that's 30 cents collectively across 100 or 1,000 clubs across Australia adds up to tens of thousands of dollars. And the point I want to drive most of all is that if we can then get as much of that to the end users, rather than have it chewed up by collection administration, then I think we're kicking a big goal. So that's a big driver in our programs, as much of every dollar collected getting to the end user. So that's, that once again has been driven out of corporate governance as well. So
how does that work? Can an organisation or a club contact you and say, well, we'd like to be part of this iChange sort of program?
Absolutely. Any sporting club out there, if they could call the Blind Sporting Council office, or call your radio station who can pass on the number, we will organise for a tin to be put in that club. We then have a volunteer chain who once every 2, 3, 4 weeks will come along and swap the tin with an empty one, and we'll then bank that. So the volunteer group is critical in helping us reduce the cost of collection. So the call for help's on two fronts. Does anyone know where we can place tins, firstly? And secondly, we are looking for volunteers to be part of the tin collection and swap outs. That means we don't pay people to actually collect and bank the funds on our behalf. Okay, so therefore the funds, as you say, get banked and then get used for a very worthwhile purpose or purposes. So mainly sporting clubs, I guess any sort of organisation that would have a bar, if you like, would qualify to be part of the iChange program. Our most successful collection tin at the moment sits in a butcher in Fulham Gardens, believe it or not. So where there are consumers, the tin can be. Okay. And do people sort of sign up for a certain amount of time, or if they want to be part of it, sign up indefinitely, or if they sort of, perhaps if the management at a club, for example, changes and they don't want to be part of it, they're not sort of tied to the program for an infinite amount of time? Yeah, great question. There is no contract. They're not tied to keep us in there for any period of time. We want to work with the venue to help support us. We're not trying to lock the venue into something that might be untenable for whatever reasons might pop up. Terrific. Did you want to touch on another project before we wrap it up? Look, probably the one that's looming, and you'll hear a lot more about this, is over time we've thought the name the Blind Sporting Council with the general public can give off a connotation that that it perhaps is some sort of government body. The term council suggests that. So as you know, a lot of our programs, I Support a Star, the Eye to Eye Ball, iChange. The word EYE is obviously a play on the blind vision impaired. We're actually moving towards a rebranding where we're going to look at the organisation being known as I Play Sport, and we really want to connect with the general community and say, look, sport's been a great part of your life, it's enriched you or your family members or someone you know, hey, come on, help out and let's give those people that may not have as much of a chance through being blind or vision impaired, throw them a few dollars, and then we can also make sure those people get the enrichment that comes with sports. So stand by. We're certainly driving the brand in a better direction, and we want to build a stronger relationship with not just the community at large, but I think as the Blind Sporting Council currently, we need to build better relationships with the people we support as well.
Terrific. If people want to find out more, they can give you a call at the moment at the Blind Sporting Council, but soon to be called I Play Sport.
Yes, that'd be fantastic.
8232-4644.
Fantastic, that's it.
Brad, good luck. And just give your business a plug, because you've been very good to the Blind Sporting Council. Qattro, how's the building industry coming along?
Look, the building industry is great. Adelaide's on the move. We're becoming a more dense state in terms of apartments and townhouses, supporting a more vibrant city. So the real estate market's pretty good at the moment. But most of all, putting my business aside, please support the Blind Sporting Council and all the people that we help in the process. That's my passion. What's
Qattro's website?
www.qattro.com.au, and there's no U in Qattro. So Qattro.
Terrific. Keep on the good work, Brad.
Thanks, Peter.
Brad Jansen there, the President of the Blind Sporting Council. We will be joined by them the second Wednesday of every month. So we just before we go on a break...